Hey guys, real quick before the video starts, I just want to apologize for getting off topic and repeating things several times. This is just a side note before the video starts. My wife called me and she was texting me and I just got distracted. So I'm sorry for any confusion that may happen or any repeated things. But yeah, I hope you enjoy the video and I hope this helps you guys out a lot. What's going on, guys? This is Resurrected Mods. Today I'm going to be bringing you the Hellcat team. It's been requested by several clanmates and people on Discord, and I wanted to make this to talk about not only this Hellcat team, but just general clan boss teams to kind of help people understand the stun mechanics and different things that you can do to improve your clan boss team. There's several videos out there. You just kind of have to go digging for them, but I wanted to bring it up again to kind of refresh people's memories, or maybe you're just now learning it for the first time. But yeah, I hope this brings some knowledge to the table that you guys didn't know. And again, just like I said in my last video, I am having to record on my iPad. I'm currently in the process of getting a new computer. My computer right now, if I try to record, it just crashes. It's just an old laptop. It's not made for heavy duty gaming. And I wouldn't even really call this heavy duty gaming, but I can't edit or anything like that. So if I say something wrong, if I get something wrong, there's gonna be no editing. So we'll see how this goes. But yeah, I want to start off by showing my Hellcat team that I'm going to be using. First, Hellcat. Um, he is just an amazing champion. He himself is an unkillable champion. I know, you have Demetha, Man-Eater, all that, but none of them can do what this guy can do. He by himself can create an unkillable comp. Obviously, when you bring other champions in, it makes it stronger, but there's no other champion that can do what he can do. Um, I don't feel like I need to go over his skill kit, but I will just so people understand. A1 attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit will has a 30% chance of placing a 25% weaken. That books up to 50% chance. Will ignore shield and block damage. We don't care about that because he is going to be just on clan boss today. This pairs really nice with his passive. His passive counterattacks with default skill whenever an ally is hit while under a block damage buff. And that's going to happen every AoE hit that the clan boss does. He's going to have block damage up and he's going to counterattack. He himself can keep up weaken the entire clan boss fight if you give him the accuracy. And then his second skill, it will work on a 3-turn cooldown. I know this is a question that a lot of people ask. It can work on a 3-turn cooldown. Is it necessary to have it on a 4-turn cooldown? No. It helps, but it's not necessary. The reason why it brings benefit to the table when it's on a 4-turn cooldown is because you can force the skill when to go. So what that means is on your block damage, you got a 4-turn cooldown. So let's say you use the block damage first, right? You use it, and then next thing you know, it's on a 3-turn cooldown by the time you get to your next skill. Well, if you use this and it's on a 3-turn cooldown, they're gonna be on the same cooldown. I don't know the correct word for it, but they're gonna be on the same time as for when the skills come available. But if this is on a 4-turn and this is on a 4-turn, then you can force this skill to go whenever you use it. It's not that major of an issue. You can still auto it. I say auto it, I mean that lightly. You can still set the clan boss team up, and then after you set it up, you can hit auto. This clan boss team can be auto from the start, but it's gonna benefit you if you set the skills up at the beginning of the fight. That way you can have each champion doing the specific skills that you want them to on the right turn. But it's only like a 2-turn setup. It's really simple. I will show you guys how to do it. But that's what it means to be able to force the cooldown when you want it to. But again, if you got it on a 3-turn cooldown, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. This comp will still work. Next up is Martyr. Martyr can be replaced by any champion that has an AoE increased defense by 60% on a 3-turn cooldown. Even if it's on 1 turn, all you're using that champion for is to buff Hellcat when he does his shield, because his shield is based on his defense. So if you give him an increased defense and he uses his shield, he has an even bigger shield. Obviously, Martyr brings much more to the table with counterattack and decreased defense. This A3 you will be turning off, so it doesn't really matter that much. But that's my second champion. My third champion is Doom Priest. She is the only champion you need to be affinity friendly. That means she cleanses the stun, she cleanses the decreased speed, decreases accuracy, decreased attack, whatever the clan boss throws at you, she's taking it off of your team. And she also brings increased attack, which is nice if you're using attack-based champions. If you're using defense-based champions, then it's not that big of a deal. I'm using both. I'm using both defense and attack, so having an increased attack is also a nice skill to have. My next champion will be Helicath the Fat. He is an amazing champion. He hits pretty hard. I'm not gonna say he does some god tier damage, but he does hit pretty hard. He brings decreased defense, which is nice because between him and Martyr, they can keep up decreased defense on the clan boss almost 100% of the time, and Hellcat takes care of the weaken. So therefore, you don't really need a champion that brings both decreased defense and weaken, because Martyr and Helicath the Fat will take care of it. Then he also brings poisons and HP burn, and he does his ally attack with increased crit rate and increased crit damage. And then my last champion is Frozen Banshee. She's a great champion. I'm sure many of you know her. I'm using her mostly because she was just a champion that was just sitting in my vault not doing anything, and I didn't really want to re-gear one of my 2 Dracos. And I figured this would be a good comp to show you guys a little bit more realistic builds. On top of that, all of these builds that these champions are in, they're just in leftover gear. Whatever gear I had just laying around on my account, I just equipped it and made it work. I did not take any gear off of any other champion to make this comp work. And you can see that in my Hellcat build. I only got like 73% crit rate and 111 crit damage. I have better stats on my Demetha, who's at 296 speed. But regardless, I just kind of wanted to build this team just to showcase this comp, and as well as be a little bit more realistic, so you guys can see if you don't have god tier gear, this is about the damage you're going to be doing. Let's talk about stun targeting mechanics. You're going to need to learn this when you build this team, because you have to avoid the stun on Hellcat and whatever champion is going at the 174 speed. As you go to Deadwood Jedi's website and you click on his speed calculator for this slow Hellcat Unkillable, as you see here on turn 5, right before the stun, Martyr, who is my champion that runs at 174 speed, she will lose the shield. So if she takes the stun, she's going to die. So I have to avoid the stun on her, and I have to avoid the stun on Hellcat. Hellcat can take the stun on Ultra Nightmare, but he cannot take the stun on Nightmare. Because as you see here, on turn 5 going into turn 6, if Hellcat were to take the stun, Doom Priest does not go first on the first AoE of Nightmare Clan Boss. So if Hellcat takes the stun, Doom Priest is not going to take the stun off of him, and then therefore your comp and the speeds are going to be ruined, and your run is going to fail. So I'm trying to avoid the stun going to those two champions. So back to the game. How this works is the clan boss will first look at the lowest HP. So if you have Hellcat at 50,000 HP and you got Frozen Banshee at 5,000 HP, the clan boss is going to see Frozen Banshee as the easiest to kill, and then he is going to go after her and kill her. This will sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes override the affinity. After the low HP, the next up is the affinity. The clan boss is almost 95% of the time going to go after the weak affinity. So if you're going against Force Clan Boss, the magic champions that you have in your clan boss are going to be the stun targets. Then the next thing is going to be the buffs. Whatever buffs that you have on your team, or actually let me take that back, again I wish I could edit. There's only a few buffs that actually matter to the clan boss. One is block damage, the second one is increased defense, and the third one is counterattack. On the AoEs it does not matter, but on the stun it does matter. And another thing that counts as a buff but isn't a buff is the mastery called Steadfast. For whatever reason, the clan boss takes this as a buff for the entire fight. So let's say everybody has increased defense, but only Hellcat, as you see here, has Steadfast. Well, he's technically going to have 2 buffs, and the clan boss is going to avoid him. Then the last thing is the, well, not the last thing, but the thing after the buffs is the lowest HP percentage remaining. And what I mean by that is, let's take Hellcat and let's take Frozen Banshee. Let's say I got Hellcat at 30,000 HP, and let's say Frozen Banshee is at 20,000 HP. Let's say for whatever reason the clan boss hits them both for 10,000 damage. Well, Frozen Banshee just lost half of her health, whereas Hellcat only lost 1/3 of his health. So the lowest HP percentage remaining would be Frozen Banshee. So the clan boss is going to look at Frozen Banshee and say, hey, she's the easiest to kill, she's the lowest HP percent remaining, I'm going to go after her. The last thing, and this is actually the last thing, is the team lead. If all the playing fields are equal, so for example on Void Clan Boss, let's say the affinity is equal, let's say the HP is equal because you're running a block damage buff comp, you're not going to have low HP. Then it's going to go after the lead champion. And that can be whoever, because the affinity doesn't matter. But the playing fields aren't going to be equal because I have this Steadfast Mastery, so it's almost guaranteeing that the clan boss is not going to go after Hellcat. I also have that Steadfast Mastery on Martyr because, like I said, on the 174 speed, that champion cannot take the stun, because if they do, they will die. So I'm wanting to avoid the stun on her as well. Therefore, I have the Steadfast Mastery. So let's go ahead and get started on the clan boss run, and I can show you guys the setup and what I mean. Well, actually, before I do that, let's go back to the Deadwood Jedi calculator, and I'm going to show you guys why. Um, Hellcat, he can auto from the start. The other champions, you want them to use their A1 all the way until um, turn 3. So after the stun, then they can start using their abilities. I don't have it showing on here, but basically, Marta would do her increased defense counterattack before the first AoE. The Frozen Banshee would do her A3 before the face AoE. I have Farrakhan the Fat just autoing from the start because his skills are a little bit weird. They rotate, so you're not necessarily going to get the same skill every single turn. So it really doesn't matter when he does his A3 and A2. Doom Priest, I have her waiting till the third turn so we can have increased attack on those counterattacks and whatnot. So that's why this is not completely auto from the start, but you guys will see. So let's go, whoa, not Doom Talon. Let's go Clan Boss. And let's go Ultra Nightmare. And I have Frozen Banshee as a lead just for increased accuracy. All of my champions have enough accuracy, but I just have her in there for the start. So we're going to hit auto. And we're going to let all of them take their A1s on this turn. Except for Fatty, like I said, he doesn't matter. And then I'm going to take it off auto. And then for this entire turn count, I'm going to A1 on everybody. A1, A1, A1. And now I'm going to auto. And it should run perfectly smooth. Another thing that I failed to mention when looking at my champions is you need to bring an increased defense champion on this comp. Like I said, whether it's a 1 turn or 2 turn, it really doesn't matter. All we need it for is Hellcat to have the increased defense when he does the shield, just like he did just there. But the other thing is Hellcat needs a minimum of 5,000 defense, because around turn 40, whatever turn that is that the clan boss stuns, he starts to bleed through the shield. So if you don't have at least 5,000 defense, he's going to start bleeding through the shields a lot faster than that, and your run is going to fail because your stun target will die. And as you see here, everything is running smooth. Everybody's counterattacking. Frozen Banshee's weak affinity, so she's not going to do too great on damage because she's going to weak hit quite often. But that's okay. The main thing is just making sure we survive the 50 turns. The speeds on this comp aren't necessarily crazy. And I think that covers just about all of it. But while this team runs, it's about an 18-minute run. I might cut it short. Again, I don't have the editing power I might be able to figure it out. But while I have you here, those clan boss stun mechanics can help you with any team that matters who the stun goes to. For example, on budget Unkillable, a lot of times the lowest HP is what you're really going for. So you want your stun target to not heal. So you're going to avoid Life Drinker. You're going to avoid Life Steal Gear. You want their HP as low as possible for the clan boss to want to stun them. Or if they're weak affinity, that's even better. but again, the other buffs matter. Increased defense, counterattack, and block damage. Um, so a lot of times you see teams running Skull Crusher, and he'll be the stun target because he will be the only champion that doesn't have counterattack. Um, so that's one way to do it. Um, I don't necessarily see Skull Crusher bringing much benefit to this comp, unless you just want him and you don't have another counterattack champion or you're not using Farrakhan Fat. Um, Realistically, having Martyr in here and Farrakhan Fat, it does bring extra damage, but it's not needed. I could just do with Farrakhan Fat and get rid of Martyr and bring in um, like a rare champion called Mart. She does increase defense. She would work perfect in this comp. She's not going to do a lot of damage, but she would do her job, which is bring increased defense for um, Hellcat, or Hellcath, whatever his name is. Um, you can do this team with Tyranorak, because she does the same thing as Doom Priest. You can do this team with Bad Alcazar, except you're not going to be affinity friendly unless you just tank the stun. Um, because Bad Alcazar can only cleanse on a 3-turn cooldown. So he can either cleanse the Spirit Affinity debuff or he can cleanse the stun. Some people tank the stuns. Like I could take the stun on Frozen Banshee and not get it cleaned, and it wouldn't affect um, the purpose of this comp. She brings nothing but damage to this comp, so if she takes a stun and the stun stays on her, it's okay. And I know I'm kind of getting off topic, but I'm trying to explain as much about Clan Boss as possible because I get a lot of questions about this stuff. And I hope I can bring answers to you guys as I continue to help you. As some of you may know me on Discord, I'm always willing to help. You just message me, I'll normally respond pretty quick. I am a full-time construction superintendent, like I said in my last video. So it really just it depends on how busy I am during the day, but I typically respond within a couple of hours. Uh, I also do takeovers. Um, I'm not currently charging right now, but I probably will be here pretty soon just because it does take a lot of time out of my time, and and a lot of people are requesting it, and so it's kind of hard to keep up. Um, but currently, I'm not charging. I'm just doing it to help people out. I do take donations if you feel like my time was worth a donation. Um, but back to the Clan Boss stuff. And again, I get off topic. I learned this from Clash with Ass or Raid with Ass, as some of you guys know. He rambles on a lot, but he is one of my favorite YouTubers, and he's actually the one that inspired me to make YouTube videos. Um, Again, I hope this helps you guys understand the stun mechanics and understand this comp specifically. Um, I actually run a Myth Fu comp. I will gladly go over that in any mechanics with that game, or not game, with that comp. If you guys have questions about that comp, and just any comp. I've built just about every comp there is out there. Not made my own, but anything that Deadwood Jedi has made a video on, I pretty much have built that comp. I built the Renegade comp. I built the Revive comp with, I can't remember his name, but where he self-revives. I built that comp. I built the Double Man-Eater comp, slow and fast. I built Bat Eater, Myth Fu, Myth Harris. I can't say I didn't create a comp. I did work with my buddy IB Charles. He is one of my good friends. I have helped him create a Myth Hair team. that runs Helicath instead. And at the time, it might be on Deadwood Jedi's site now, but at the time it wasn't. And we figured out the speeds and we got it running. It doesn't work on some things, but it gets him his 2 key damage that he was shooting for. And that's another thing that I kind of want to touch on is damage potentials. A lot of these YouTube videos, you see these comps, like even this Hellcat comp. I've seen like Scratch did like 120 million damage with this comp. Insane damage. A lot of people look at those YouTube videos and say, oh yeah, I can easily 1 key. But what you don't pay attention to is they got 6,000 attack on all their champions with 100% crit rate and like 280 crit damage. I mean, just insane numbers. Um, this comp right here is going to be a pretty reliable 2 key, no matter what champions you use, as long as you can get Hellcat to 5k defense and bring in increased defense for him, you're going to last a full 50 turns, as long as you guide the stun to the correct person and whatnot. Another side note is each one of these champions will at least need a minimum of 2,000 defense to help with that shield last a little bit longer. Hey guys, I'm back. I'm sorry, I got a phone call and I got a little bit distracted and completely forgot what I was talking about. I am really sorry if I was talking about anything important, um, but the gist of it is I'm always here to help you guys, and I hope that I explained everything. I'm pretty sure I over-explained everything and probably said it 2, 3, 4, 5 times. I don't know how many times I've over said something, but again, I really hope this helped. As you can see here, the clan boss is starting to bleed through the shield, so that's why you need the 5,000 defense. If you didn't have that, he would have already started bleeding through the shield and you would be in big trouble. Thankfully, because we have block damage on the AoEs, it gives Doom Priest a little bit of time to get her Frozen Banshee's HP back up. So you're not really in trouble. We've only got 2 more stuns for the remaining of this fight, so I am not worried at all. Neither would you be if you were in this position. And as you can see, we're a very comfortable 2 key. 2 key damage is like 35.2 million damage, I think, somewhere around there. That will get you your 2 key damage. We're probably gonna be at 45, 46 million. I would live with that any day. Um, Ultra Nightmare and Nightmare Clan Boss bring so much value to your account. You get daily shards, you get daily books, you get decent gear. Depends on where you're at in the game. Clan Boss can throw you out some pretty good cruel and immortal gear. So I highly recommend, if you're struggling on Nightmare or Ultra Nightmare and you have a comp similar to this and you think you can obtain the stats that I have, I would give it a shot. It's very easy to build. The speeds are really slow. 242, I believe it is, or whatever Hellcat speed is. That's the fastest champion, and that is not fast at all when you're talking about clan boss comps. So there you go. That was the last done of this run. So we're doing great. Like I said, we're gonna be about 46 million, probably 47 now that I'm actually looking at it. We're doing good. So key things to take away from this is learn the stun mechanics, look at who is going to lose the shield, and make sure they don't take the stun. Make sure Hellcat does not take the stun on Nightmare. So there you go, 47.3. It's nothing crazy out of any of these champions. They're just all around doing fairly well. Another thing to note is I don't think they're all mastered. I could be wrong, but let me go look real quick. So Martyr is mastered, Hellcat is mastered. Doom Priest is not mastered. So you're missing quite a bit of damage out of War Master procs for her. Fatty is mastered, and Frozen Banshee is mastered. Okay, so you're only missing 1 million or so damage out of War Master procs from Doom Priest, but still it could add up and help you get past that 2 key damage. This comp could be a 1 key. As I expressed, you have to have insane gear. This is going to be a more realistic approach for most of you guys. If you're already at a 2 key comp, whether it's killable or unkillable, I don't know that I would make the switch unless you're just really wanting to free up the champions. For example, if you're running like a white whale comp, which is like Duchess, Marsaled, Martyr, some insanely strong legendaries, and you just kind of want to free them up for other parts of the game, then I would definitely look into building this comp to help you progress in other areas of the game. But otherwise, if you've already got a 2 key, it's gonna be hard for you to get the 1 key. A lot of people do not realize the gear it takes to get 1 key damage, especially when you're running 1-to-1 ratio. On my Fushan comp, my myth Fu, everybody is running at least a 2-to-1 comp or a 2-to-1 speed ratio. Harris and Demitha are running at a 3-to-1 ratio. So your damage multiplies pretty quick because they're taking so many more turns than a 1-to-1 comp. That's why my personal opinion, think the Myth Fu comp is the easiest 1 key Ultra Nightmare comp out there. The speeds are the easiest, the damage is the easiest. But yeah, so I'm going to be making a video on that pretty soon. There's already been a video out on that from the Dragon's Beard. I let him log on to my account a long time ago when I built it, because I wasn't really into YouTube, and he showcased that. But I will showcase that and go over any specifics. And I hope this video finds you guys well today. I hope you had a great Saturday. At least it will be when I upload this video. And yeah, peace out and have a great night.